Welcome back. Commander Shepard has taken command of the Normandy and we are ready to depart the Citadel to start on our mission, which is of course to find out what Saren is up to and presumably to stop him. And in order to explore the universe with the Normandy, we have to use the galaxy map. However, before we look at that, let's look at our journal and decide what we're going to do. Of course, we could get started on the mission proper. We have several options. Could go to Pharaohs, investigate that Gaff attack, go to Noveria and see what the Gaff are doing there. Or we could go look for Liara Tassoni in the Artemis Tau cluster, where she is apparently located on some Prothean dig. She is the daughter of Matriarch Benezia, the Asari working with Saren, so she might know something about what he's doing. However, starting immediately with the missions, while that might be tempting, is also quite hard, because some of the missions have some difficult bits if you're still quite low level. And also, there are a number of assignments in Uncharted space that I want to deal with. There are many such assignments to be done. They are kind of repetitive, unfortunately. One thing Mass Effect 2 does a lot better is that it has more variety in its side quests. But I want to do all of them, and in order to try to not make it too boring, I'm going to spread them out between the story missions. I already have decided on a precise order in which I want to do every single mission in the game, and that order should allow me to mix things up sufficiently between story and assignments, and also should allow me to do the assignments without getting killed, because there are certain assignments you can do right now which are way too difficult for me at my current character level. Most of those, though, are assignments that you haven't heard about yet, but that you can find just by random exploration. If you stick to the ones that are in your list, they are mostly doable. And the first assignment I actually want to go and look at is Unusual Readings, which is also the first assignment we actually found out about. While on the Citadel, you uncovered an Alliance patrol report. One of the patrols mentioned some strange activity in the Hydra system of the Argos Rho cluster. We got that from the terminal in Ambassador Udina's office. So we can go to the Hydra system in the Argos Rho cluster and investigate. So, let's go to Argos. Wait. That's not what I mean. Alright, the galaxy map then. It has various levels of zooms, and currently we are zoomed in as far as possible into the Citadel, supposedly constructed by the long-extinct Protheans. This colossal deep space station serves as the capital of the Citadel Council. Gravity is simulated through rotation and is a comfortable 1.02 standard Gs on the wards and a light 0.3 standard Gs on the Presidium ring. That's kind of weird because there's no noticeable difference in gravity between the two, in the game anyway. But then the game has you walk around on places where there is no gravity, and it doesn't really make any difference to the physics either. 0.3 standard Gs is light enough that you wouldn't really be able to walk. You'd have to use a similar kind of hopping motion that the astronauts on the moon used, but the game doesn't seem to care. Anyway, we're gonna leave the Citadel behind. The Citadel is located in a nebula in the Widow cluster, and as you can see, there's nothing else there. We're actually in the Widow system of the Serpent Nebula. Sorry, I got that wrong. But there's nothing else in this nebula either, so let's zoom out even further. And now we get the entire galaxy. This gives you the impression that Council Space spans the entire galaxy, which in a way it does, but it doesn't actually cover all that much space, because high-speed travel is really only limited to places that are connected by mass relays, which are indicated by the red arrows on the map here. So they're actually all relatively small clusters of stars that have been colonized that may be great distances apart, linked by the mass relays, but there is no colonization just out in the middle of nowhere, so even though it spans the entire galaxy, it doesn't necessarily cover that much terrain. You see that a couple of areas have been specially marked, particularly those that relate to our primary missions. Pharaoh's Novaria over here, and Liara's dig site over here in Artemis Tau. Two other locations that are marked, besides the Citadel, are Asteroid X-57 and Pinnacle Station. Those are two pieces of downloadable content, extra missions for the game that were not part of the initial release. And I will be getting to those later. Well, at least I will be getting to Asteroid X-57 later. I do not intend to do Pinnacle Station. Pinnacle Station is not very interesting. It's basically just a series of gauntlets where they set you a challenge to complete a mission in a certain time, or have a certain number of kills, or stay alive for a certain amount of time against increasing waves of enemies. But there's not really much of a story to it. It is not very interesting, and it is way too difficult for me. I have never managed to beat even one of those missions, and in order to actually get to the more interesting bits of it, you need to beat all of them, or I think 8 or something like that, which I just cannot do it. So if you really want to see what Pinnacle Station is like, you have to see elsewhere. I really regret buying it, to be honest. Anyway, we were going to Argos Row, which is not indicated on the map, so we have to look around to see where it is. Hawking Ida, Kepler Verge, Armstrong Nebula, Atkin Beta, Voyager Cluster, Hades Gamma, Gemini Sigma, Argos Row. Oh, that is the same place as Pinnacle Station, actually. Okay, Pinnacle Station is actually here in the Phoenix system, but we were going to the Hydra system to investigate that unusual reading. So, in the words of Shepard's namesake, let's light this candle and get out of here. Okay, he didn't say that last part. And there we have arrived in the Hydra system, and you can see there is a number of planets here. And we have to figure out which one. All of these planets have a description. Most of them are not very interesting, so I'm not going to bother reading them. I will read the descriptions for planets we can land on. That's all. You still want to look at all of the planets, because sometimes you can find some stuff there, which gives you money and experience.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
General distress call. The Sacred Angel medical transport. Critical system failure. Losing power. An emergency landing. Argos. Communications failing. Life support and emergency transponder. Won't last. Please hurry.
I guess we found out what the strange readings were. It's a distress call. Well, let's see if there's someone down there and see if we can help them. The planet is Medgos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Warning, level 2 heat hazard. That basically means that if you walk around on this planet, you will take damage if you stay outside too long. Medgos is a large terrestrial planet with an atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Its hot surface is mainly composed of nickel with deposits of potassium and heavy metals. It is a mineralogical treasure trove with concentrated heavy elements constantly being brought to the surface by volcanic activity. Medcos is inhospitable and dangerous, and expeditions must be well prepared to survive any length of time. With its high mass, heat-trapping clouds, and constant volcanic venting, Medcos seems well on its way to becoming a Venusian pressure cooker world. Nice place to go on our first mission. And now, planetary exploration. Let's see, who shall I take with me on this first mission? I don't think it matters all that much. Unlike unlike the main missions, it doesn't really make much difference in terms of dialogue or anything who you take with you on the side quests. Like I said, I'll try and vary it a bit. Let's go with Garrus and Tali, or as they've become known, Team Dextro, because they have dextro amino acids. Different from humans, who are levo amino acids. Anyway, it means they can't eat our food. Planetary exploration works using the Mako, the vehicle we saw in the cargo bay. It has a mass effect field generator, which is how it can survive a landing like that, and also how it's able to leave the planet again. And with it, we can drive around on the surface of alien worlds. We can also shoot our gun and a cannon, in case we run into any trouble. It is also possible to exit and explore the planet on foot. On this particular planet, because this is a level 2 hazard, you see that bar filling up, and as soon as it does fill up, we will start taking damage, and then, well, if we run out of health, we'll die. Going back into the Mako will solve this problem. You don't really want to explore planets on foot anyway, because they are far too big for that. You can look at the map and see various points of interest in the area. Not everything that's on the planet is necessarily on the maps, so there might be something down here, and you'd never know unless you actually go there. I don't feel like exploring every centimeter of every planet, and of course I could cheat by using online maps, but it just wastes time for very little benefit. What I'm going to do is I will check out all of the things that are on the map, and if I see anything on the radar while driving to those locations, I will check that out too. Well, let's start with this anomaly up there. Transponder signal is our eventual destination. That would be the source of the distress call. Now, I placed a flag on the map there, so the arrow on the radar now points us which way to go. Driving is clumsy, the controls are difficult, the terrain is maddening, and sometimes this planet isn't even too bad, but there are some planets where there's stuff you need to get to that's very hard to get to because you have to drive up vertical cliffs or whatever. The Mako can take a lot of punishment, fortunately, so it doesn't really matter how wild you drive. But it's not the most interesting activity to do, and I would imagine it's even less interesting to watch. So I will do it for this one planet, and for remaining planets I will fast forward through it. We have found the anomaly, some piece of debris lying here, with a Turian corpse, which we can recover, again using our by now well-known minigame. And what have we found? Turian insignia recovered. While searching the wreckage, you found a very old letter stamped with the Gothist colony insignia. Unfortunately, the text is indecipherable. These things don't actually serve any purpose except for XP and money, and they're part of an assignment called Turian Insignias. There's a couple of assignments that are just basically collecting stuff This is one of them. We've now found 1 out of 13 Turian emblems. There's actually more of them than the 13 you need to find, so you don't actually need to look in every corner of the universe to complete these missions. They don't really serve any purpose other than to gather XP and money. Like I said, I'll look at the stuff that's on the maps, and if I see anything on the radar while driving, I'm not going to waste time looking at every corner of every planet, making sure that I found everything, because it's just not interesting. Also note that our unusual readings mission has now been renamed to UNC Distress Call. This is kind of annoying that they rename missions without telling you whenever you find out more about them, so you can sometimes think, where's it gone? Anyway, let's get inside before this hazard starts killing us. These things, though, are a good way to get experience and money. Especially money once you get to higher levels. You get quite a lot of money for finding these things. We saw some debris on the map. Let's go check that out. Yeah, this is why I'm not a chauffeur. I would hope that this vehicle has some kind of acceleration dampening inside. Otherwise it would be quite a rough ride, I think. This is going to be hard. So we don't have to go up the really tall cliff, I don't think so. It is not impossible to flip the Mako, but very hard. It doesn't really matter if you do anyway, because it will right itself using its gun. And if you really go mad, you can actually take damage to the wheels in particular by driving wildly, but it rarely happens. Isn't much of a problem when it does. I'm trying to get up here, but controls aren't helping. I guess the way the Mako behaves is kind of realistic for a vehicle with 6 wheels that are all independently driven, but it doesn't make it easier to operate, especially with a keyboard. We have a crashed probe here that we can actually... A crashed pope? That would be weird. A crashed probe that we can salvage. Again, using the minigame. And these are basically exactly the same as the crates and lockers and kits and whatever you find everywhere. They just contain stuff. What kind of armor upgrade do I have? A shield regenerator. I guess Garrus is not all that well equipped. I don't have any Turian armor, but I can give him the hardened weave. And he has a Banshee 3 assault rifle, and he's a sniper guy. So let's try giving him a better sniper rifle in case he'll ever use it. I don't have many ammo mods worth using at the moment.
All clear.
I also don't think I upgraded Garrus. If he's gonna use sniper rifles, let's unlock them. And give him some points there. And let's unlock his assault training. There. That will do, I think. Not sure if we'll actually see any action in this mission. I think we might not, even. Not on foot, anyway.